So my experience with Alliance so far has really been positive. You know, when you start looking at making this transition, you know, I've spent almost 5 years in the Army. You know, most recently serving in the Ranger Regiment, and so you build up this momentum, this kind of pattern of success, and you want to be able to continue that as you step out into the civilian world, into the civilian workforce. And so, you know, you receive emails from a lot of companies. I think some of the other JMO companies out there reached out to me, kind of these blanket emails. We're very specific, but Alliance has spent the time preparing me for this transition. I think taking the time to get to know me, not only as a person, but professionally as a leader throughout my time in the military, and help me figure out how I can apply the skill set that I've honed in the last 5 years to what's going to happen next for us. And they placed us in front of some truly great companies. You know, I can honestly say that I was surprised when I sat down and received my packet, and then as I started to learn more about some of these companies, and I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with their interviewers, that these are really some great companies that are run by some great people. And so it's great to come out of this conference knowing that I've had the chance to put myself in front of people that I can truly believe in, people that I think have a purpose, and it's not just financially motivated purpose. It's they believe in some of the same things that I've valued throughout my time in the Army, and then I'm going to have the opportunity to continue to work for folks like that. It's something that's going to be great for me personally. It's going to be great for us as we move forward, and I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for Alliance. You know, John Zornick runs a training program, and they take time to show you what's out there in industry. There were all sorts of courses that we talked through, and it gave me exposure to things that I'd had no exposure to previously. And it really gave me a good kind of understanding coming into this process of the type of work that I'd be exposed to in the interviews and that I'd have the opportunity to do later. And so it was really an incredible training program. The reading list has got some really great books on it, and the discussions that we were able to have on our WebEx calls, discussing those books, discussing this transition process, really took it from what could have been kind of a terrifying, unnerving transition for the both of us to something where I felt confident, I felt excited. I really couldn't wait to show up to the conference, and I felt cared for. They genuinely care, not because they're paid to care, but because they've all been in these shoes. You know, they were in the Army, they transitioned out at some point. Some of them, John Zornick, Roger, made it to retirement, and so they're doing this because they believe that the JMOs, you know, guys like us that are getting ready to transition out, have earned the right to have a great opportunity, and they've helped me sit in front of companies that provide me that great opportunity. So, Lauren, what do you think?
I've definitely been surprised by the quality of companies here, and really just the quality of this process. I would say from early on, the training going into it, the intense amount of work, the WebExes, the readings. I think that it definitely made you realize how seriously Alliance took this process, and as a family and a spouse to a junior military officer, you definitely want to be placing your trust in a company that's going to take it seriously and really advocate for you on our behalf. And I think that it is a scary process when you're coming from a military background with military skills and talent, and not knowing if companies are going to be able to recognize the talent that these junior officers have. And so for Alliance to be able to do the vetting of these companies to make sure that the companies are legitimate and successful and moving in a positive direction, and to have companies that value the skill sets that these men and women truly have, I think is really valuable in and of itself. And then it's been a really good experience for me as a spouse to be able to be a part of it and kind of see the ins and outs of what these companies are about and what skill sets they're looking for, what locations they're looking at, so that I'm not blindsided once I hear how it went afterwards. I get to be a part of it and feel like we're making decisions as a family.
I think to kind of sum it all up, one of the things that sets Alliance apart from the other JMO firms that are out there is that they don't just represent the company. You know, they're not just trying to find jobs for guys like me coming out of the service so they can make some money, they can get paid. There are volume focused JMO transfer groups out there, and I don't think they do the right thing for a lot of the JMOs that come through. They do them into service, and so Alliance has been very different. You know, they've represented, you know, me as a person, me as a successful transitioning officer, and they represented the companies fairly and equally. And so it's really been a great process, and I'd absolutely recommend it to anyone who's had a successful military career. is preparing to transition out and make the next step, and really wants somebody in their corner who's going to help them through the process.